Welcome to episode 146 of the Alcohol Addiction Podcast. My name is Lee Davey. I'm not an alcoholic and I refuse to be anonymous. I'm someone who doesn't drink alcohol. I spend every waking moment helping other people do the same. Because right here at The Truth About Alcohol, our goal, our mission, before I clog my pegs, I don't know, is to create a movement of millions of people who do not drink alcohol so our children don't have to, right? That's the whole point of this thing, just to remind you, okay? Before I talk about this episode, which is going to be Social Butterfly, just a little bit of an update on my life right now. I'm currently in Cardiff. I've got back from my trip to Barcelona, my trip around Asia. I enjoyed my time away. I realized how much I'm really, really grateful that I have the UK and I love living in the UK. You know, I've just spent the last 3 months worrying that a mosquito is going to kill me with dengue fever, or the ground's going to swallow up and eat me alive in an earthquake, or a tsunami is going to drown me. And now I'm in the UK. The worst that's going to happen is I'm going to get stung by a bee, right? Or it's going to rain a lot. Maybe the river will flood and my feet will get wet. So I really am grateful that the experience of traveling has made me realize that if you live in the UK, you're very, very, very fortunate these days. So Liza and I have decided that we are going to try to buy a house in Cardiff. It's and send Zia to school here, and that's a big commitment. So it's a big financial commitment as well. Loans, that kind of stuff, debt, places that I didn't think I'd ever go before, but I'm gonna have to go there. I think we both realize that having a nest is really important. We're staying at Liza's friend's house at the moment. You can see all our luggage behind us. The place is a mess, and it does create a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of stress in my life when everything's a mess. I can't find my clothes. I can't find this and that. I'm not set up to do my podcast correctly. But this is my life. I'm just kind of winging it. And I'm just grateful that I have an audience that I'm able to do a podcast for. So I'm trying my best to turn everything that happens in my life on its head and to focus on it from a perspective of gratitude, because for so long I've been born out of this egg containing pessimism, worry, concern, moaning, groaning, that type of thing, right? So I'm trying to be more grateful. So there you are. I am grateful for your listeners. I love it, okay? I want to say a few thank yous. I want to say congratulations to Serena. Serena is currently doing the life-changing experience. She's on, I don't know what week she's on, but she's under Laurie's tutelage at the moment, which is fantastic. And Serena recently celebrated her 100 days without having a drink. Now, that's really important because the Truth About Alcohol life-changing experience that Serena's doing now is 90 days long, and she hasn't finished it yet, which means she had stopped drinking before she took the life-changing experience. And I think that is really important to stress. It's not just an experience that's going to help you become someone who doesn't drink alcohol. It's also an experience that helps you cement your new existence as someone who doesn't drink alcohol, right? I think that's really important. Even if you have gone 6 months, 1 year, 2 years of not drinking, but you still think that there's value in drinking sometime, then take the Truth About Alcohol life-changing experience, because that philosophy hammered into you will help you deal with those perceptions of value, all right? And I love what Serena said. Someone said to her in Strive Forum, hey, Serena, now you've made 100 days, are you going to set another goal, right? Because Serena said that her goal was always to make 100 days. Before Serena found the Truth About Alcohol, she joined Belle's Tired of Thinking About Drinking, and Belle has a 100-day challenge, right? So Serena did that 100-day challenge with Belle. And someone on Strive said, are you going to set a new challenge? This is what Serena said. I'm converting the number to a life sentence. No more counting, just being alcohol-free for life. I'm converting the number to a life sentence. No more counting, just being alcohol-free for life. And then she said, I know this is the person I've always been. And that's an important thing on Strive. We're not about creating new people. We're not about becoming someone different. We're about chipping away at the masks that we have adorned for decades to find the teenager or the pre-pubescent little girl or little boy that we always was before we decided to sell our soul to the societal devil and to just fit in. We are about finding out who we have always been, who we really are, not becoming someone else, right? It's really important. So well done, Serena. The work you're doing on the life-changing experience is fantastic. Your service on the Strive movement is amazing. And I hope that in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years from now, you're still a part of this movement, because I think you're really special. Thank you for making it to 100 days. I also want to say happy birthday to Anna. Anna is I can't even speak. Serena, you've wobbled my mind. Anna is a Truth About Alcohol moderator. She's currently shadowing Nikki on the group 8 that's going on at the moment. Anna is an absolutely beautiful woman. She is, I don't know, she's just so involved in the Strive movement, and she helps so many people. And it's going to be her birthday on the 7th of September. And if Anna, if you're listening to this, and I know you are, I just want to wish you a very happy birthday, and just to express my love for you and all the gratitude I have for you for the work that you do in helping this movement happen. Because if I want to create a movement of millions of people, I cannot do it alone. It has to be built upon a core group of real fanatics who believe in this philosophy and really want to make a difference in the world. And Anna, you are one of them. Finally, I want to say a big welcome to Karen. Karen has just recently joined the Strive movement, and she is checking in. She's helping people. She's sharing. And I know that it's a very daunting experience, Karen, when you're new, but just know that everybody on Strive is being in the same position as you are, and they're full of love for people like you, and full of support and empathy, okay? Anyway, there you are. That's a lot of thank yous for people. Now, what do I want to talk about? The social butterfly. Let me have a drink a second and think about this. Okay, social butterfly. I'm going to ramble a little bit here, but I hope it'll make sense. One of the things I read on Strive a lot is this concern that people have that if they become someone who doesn't drink alcohol, that nobody will like them, particularly in a social environment. So nobody ever says, wow, you know, like I'm going to be a different person, and I'm not going to be happy with that person. That very rarely happens. What tends to happen more often is the fear of being judged by others, a fear of not being liked by other people. And this ostensibly revolves around craving the love and the desire of a partner. So let's say we stop drinking alcohol. Let's say I stop drinking alcohol. I'm a member of Strive, and my wife doesn't. Then there's the worry and concern that decision is going to lead to her leaving me ultimately, and that manifests in itself. That builds up slowly. She won't like me. She won't find me interesting. She won't find me exciting. All this kind of stuff, and eventually she'll leave me. So normally those thoughts and feelings come from a place of not wanting to be alone, because none of us want to be alone permanently. I think, you know, being alone for periods of time is really good, really beneficial, but none of us want to be alone permanently. So straight away when we stop drinking alcohol, we worried about our partners buggering off and leaving us and finding someone much more interesting, because we link or have linked over decades the benefit that alcohol provides when we go out in a social arena, okay? So we strongly believe that alcohol is normal and pleasurable. Where does the pleasurable part come in? It comes in because every time we go out to a social event, alcohol is part of that event. So over time, many, many, many years ago, our neocortex, our limbic system, and our cerebellum all got together and had a little chat and said, hey, what we'll do to speed up the thinking process and let things happen a little bit more naturally, to free up more brain capacity to think about other things, is when we walk into a pub, you just know that it'll be fucking great laugh if you go and have a drink of alcohol, okay? So we believe, because of our brains programmed to believe this, that alcohol is an essential component of enjoying ourselves socially, either in the house or when we go out to a party or a nightclub or a pub or whatever, okay? So you then extend this theory that your partner is not going to like you to your family. Your extended family is not going to like you, and your friends are not going to like you. And this is compounded even more if you are in a tribe of people where drinking alcohol is a core part of your activities. A good example I think about personally is when I was younger, I used to play football. And after we play football on a Sunday, we'd get fucking smashed. If I had stopped drinking alcohol back then, what would I have done when I got back to the pub? Drank water. How would that have worked? How would I have felt drinking water around everybody else who's absolutely smashed drinking alcohol? It would have been a very difficult thing, right? And then what tends to happen is we have a lot of white space because we've stopped drinking. And white space manifests itself in two ways. The first way that white space manifests itself is in the physical time we have available to do other stuff now we're not drinking alcohol. So if we're not going to the nightclub, we're not going to pub, we're not going out to buy alcohol, we're not lying on a settee with a hangover. If we're not doing those things, and I don't know about you, but when I was drinking, take that away, and all of a sudden, I've got every weekend available to me, and I've got several hours every single night available to me. That's a vast amount of time that I suddenly have on my hands. And that is white space, and how you fill it is really important. Then the other thing you need to think about is the white space in your mind, because of course, you don't know this, but as a drinker, you're not really with it, right? You're not really compos mentis. You're not really philosophizing, thinking about life, because there's a fog in there, right? And the resistance is stirring this fog up. Now, once you stop drinking alcohol, the fog leaves over a period of time, and it's not long, and you start questioning everything you're doing in life. Why am I married? Why do I have sex with this guy? I don't even like him. Why am I in this job? I fucking hate it. Why am I going to meet Frank on Saturday? He's a knob. Why am I don't know, eating terrible, terrible food when I know it's going to kill me? Why am I smoking cigarettes when I know I'll get cancer? You start asking all these questions, right? How could I be a better mom? How could I be a better dad? How could I be a better husband? How could I be a better son, daughter, right? That white space is filled by those deep philosophical questions. But also, you start beating yourself up, right? Because the resistance doesn't want you to quit alcohol. It doesn't want you to become someone who doesn't drink alcohol. So the resistance will fill that white space as well. And there's a battle that goes on in there. It's almost like you've got a devil on one shoulder, an angel on the other. The angel is saying, wow, this is great. I can get a new wife. I can get a new job. I can get meaning and purpose in my life. And then the devil on his shoulder is like, fuck that. You don't want to do that. Everyone will think you're a complete cock, a complete wanker. What you need to do is you need to fucking drink and get back into the gang. Because if you're alone, everyone's going to hate you. You're never going to amount to anything. You're going to be a disaster in life. And one of the things that the resistance tells us that I see on the forum a lot, okay, is this belief that we are incapable of talking or connecting with someone without alcohol. And because of that, that makes us defective. Like people would say, there's something wrong with me. I don't like people. There's something wrong with me. I can't fit in a group. There's something wrong with me. I can't make people laugh. There's something wrong with me. I just don't connect with Sally. There's something wrong with me. My friends don't call me to go out anymore. There's something wrong with me. I just do not have the ability or can't think of anything to say to anyone. And you start to believe that there's something wrong with you. Okay? There's not something wrong with you, okay? There's not. I used to pigeonhole myself as an extrovert. I was the life and soul of the party. I was the person who would puke. I would bolt a pint of Strongbow blackcurrant, puke it in my pint glass, and then drink it again. I'm the person who would put my head through a window. I'm the person who would take all my clothes off and run down the street naked. I remember once taking all my clothes off on a football trip to Torquay, and there was a big bowling tournament, lawn bowls, and I ran in the middle of the lawn bowls competition completely naked and did an headstand. That was me. But I realized, now I don't drink, that I'm not an extrovert at all. I'm actually an introvert. I select who I'm talking to very, very carefully. What does that mean? Well, it means to me that back when I was drinking, I was being a little bit fake. I was putting on this extrovertness, if you want to call it that, and I was behaving in a way that was contrary to my true values and my true persona of who I am. I was showing off. I was playing up to the ego. I was trying to fit in, okay? And back then, for me, being super cool, acting like a cock, what would give me gold points. It would actually enhance my status within the tribe. There are different ways of enhancing your status. One way is to take all your clothes off and jump in front of lawn bowls and do a headstand if they're the type of guys you hang around with. But another way of increasing your status is to turn around very proudly to a group of people and say, hey, I don't drink alcohol, so I'm going to refuse that drink right now. And then engage in a conversation whereby you may change someone's life. Because it is highly unusual to have a conversation with someone who drinks alcohol when you tell him you don't, where they're not curious as to why you don't drink. Because, don't forget, the reason that people are able to drink a powerful poison that kills 3.3 million people a year is cognitive dissonance. And when you turn around and say, hey, I don't drink alcohol, a little shard of light comes into that cognitive dissonance, and they start thinking, whoa, I had a real fucking bad hangover Saturday. This guy never has any. And they start asking questions. Now your status can go up because now you can be the person who doesn't drink alcohol. You can be very proud of that fact. You can make a change in someone's life. It's all about perspective, okay? Right. Now, I have a theory that I started drinking when I was 14 years of age. I stopped drinking when I was 35. If I was to map out my volume of intake over that life span, between that time span between 40 and 35, you would see like a little mountain, like a very progressive like line that would go up in volume. So because as I get older, I earn more money, alcohol is more available to me, I can drink more of it, my life starts getting into shit, I get more addicted, so I'm drinking more and more and more and more alcohol. Now, the more and more and more alcohol I drink, the less the more alcohol I drink, the less time I consciously spend in this world. And we spend a vast amount of it anyway, subconsciously, but the very limited time that I have consciously in this world, that I am conscious, I'm aware, that I am making the right choices in my life, I'm not here, I'm not present, because I'm either drinking and the byproduct of drinking means that I'm slowly destroying my brain cells and I'm slowly losing my shit and I'm slowly finding it difficult to speak and I'm slowly finding it difficult to hear someone and I'm increasingly making the conversation more about me, and eventually I'm going to lose large parts of memory of what happened or the entire night, okay? And then you wake up the next morning and obviously alcohol is giving you a hangover because it's trying to tell you not to do it again. And now, because you have a hangover, you cannot face talking to someone. And even if you do, the likelihood that you're going to go into a deep, meaningful discussion about life is very, very fucking rare. All right. So what I'm trying to tell you is we have spent an inordinate amount of our time not used to having deep, meaningful conversations with people, because we can't remember any of these conversations. So we become damn it. I'm back. Am I back? Oops, I thought I lost you there. I hope you're back. Okay, let's hope that wasn't too much of a pain in the neck for you guys, okay? Okay, so I'm back. Sorry, I had a little bit of a technical blip. So what I'm saying is we were not corpus mentis for a large period of our life. So we have become the masters at small talk, and we've forgotten what it's like to have deep, meaningful conversations with people, okay? I went through my storage container the other day to get some shit out of there because I'd moved back to Cardiff. A girl called Mercedes was there overseeing me because I share the container with someone else and she needs to make sure I'm not going to steal anything. And Mercedes says to me, what do you do for a living? Now, what you do for a living is one of the first things you ask someone because you haven't got a fucking clue what to ask them because you feel shy, you feel stupid, and your brain is just automatically saying, oh, let's get rid of this uncomfortableness and just ask them what they do for a living, okay? So she's asked me what I do for a living. Then I tell her what I do for a living, but I don't really give a shit about how I'm explaining it to her because I'm more interested in just getting this stuff out of the locker as quick as I can so I don't have to have a conversation with this person I don't have a conversation with. And she doesn't want to have a conversation with me. She just wants me to hurry the fuck up, get my stuff out of the container so she can get back to doing her job, right? But what happens is we engage in this really fake line of questioning and conversation that means nothing. And we have become the absolute masters of that, right? Absolute masters of that, all right? Now, when you become someone who doesn't drink alcohol, you no longer want to have these conversations because they're boring. They're boring, they're not stimulating, and they're putting you in a tough spot. Because let me two people. You've got Mercedes and you've got Sierra, picking two cars names, right? Sierra, you have a deep and meaningful conversation with, you really connect with, okay? Now, if you're having a conversation with Sierra and you've got that relationship with her, then you're not going to be put in a tough spot about what you're going to talk about, right? It's going to flow and you're going to really enjoy it, right? But if you're with Mercedes and you don't feel that connection with her, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to have that ease of conversation. You're going to feel uncomfortable. So you're not going to want to talk to Mercedes. Talking to Mercedes is a pain in the neck, right? But because you've stopped drinking alcohol, you have now increased the likelihood that you're going to have conversations with Mercedes tenfold because now you're not drinking. So now you're with it more. You're not absent. You're not blacking out. Your brain is not being addled by alcohol. So if you go to the pub and you're not drinking alcohol, all of a sudden, you're with it. You have to have a conversation. You have to think about what you're talking about. You never had to think about it before. People think the reason that they never had to think about drinking alcohol is because you're drinking alcohol and therefore you loosen your inhibitions and therefore you can talk more, etc., etc., etc. It's partly that, but it's also partly your brain knows how to have really simple, straightforward, surface level conversations very quickly. So things like, how are you doing at work? How are the kids? What do you think about the football last night? Go look at the rack on that. These things just come out automatically when you're having these surface level conversations, right? And you're kind of used to that. So you just get into it. But when you're not drinking, you feel uncomfortable around those things. These things come to you, but all of a sudden you stop because your brain's telling you to ask him how are the kids, but you don't give a fuck about the kids. Because you realize you don't really give a fuck about this person, really. You realize that you've got nothing in common with them, all right? You look around and everybody still wants to play this game. They want to play this game of let's drink as much as we can and have shallow level conversations. And all of a sudden, you don't want to play that game anymore. And you start to feel slightly angry. And you start to feel slightly irritated with the world. And like the world's unfair. Why is it like this? This is not fair. I want people so I can have deep and meaningful conversations with them. And I can't have a deep, meaningful conversation with this person. By the time I've gotten into a deep, meaningful conversation, he's going to be half pissed and won't remember it. He just keeps talking about himself all the time. Time is absolutely precious. And I hope you can see that through decades, we've been wasting it. We haven't been there. We've actually taken a huge chunk of our life and we've thrown it away. We just weren't there. We sold it, right? The key is not to drink so we can get back into having lots of fun and real great conversations, right? That's not the key. The key here is to have deep, meaningful conversations, is to allow the universe to send you the right people by believing that they're there and believing and loving yourself and then to take action when these people actually turn up, all right? Because if you don't find the courage to take action when these people turn up, you will become very lonely. And if you become very lonely, then the resistance, the devil on your shoulder, will beat the crap out of the angel and tell you that you're lonely because you decided not to drink alcohol. And then you will drink, okay? I shared a good example on Strive Movement the other day. Where's my phone? All right. I sent a message to my ex-neighbor. His name's Daniel, because a parcel had gone to his house by accident and I wanted to check. And I sent this message to him. Hey, Dan, it's Lee, your former neighbor. Did a parcel of mine arrive today? Dan writes back, Lee, former neighbor, son of Rangor, heir to the throne of Harvok. Yeah, it arrived in a big box, and I spent the afternoon kicking it around the lounge for entertainment. I hope it wasn't delicate. Now, I read that, and I laughed my head off. And I said to myself, I'm going to make Dan one of my friends. Now, think about that. The universe has sent Dan my way, right? I don't know how it happens, but I know it does. I am a lover of Max Richter, the German composer, okay? I played his album Sleep whilst we were going through labor with the birth of Zia for 2 days in our home birth, right? Turns out that Dan, when I moved into Cathedral Road and lived above us, Dan works for Max Richter, okay? Coincidence. Yes, I know it's a coincidence, but I like to believe that the universe is doing something and sending in my way. Now, he's just sent me that text. Really super funny. I could do two things. I could text him back and say, hey, Dan, thank you for that. I love it. I'm going to come round and pick up my box. Or I could say, did it vibrate? Elms, son of Elms, and heir to the throne of Richterville? When is a good time for the 5 of us to kill a few pigeons, drink their blood, while catching up on our travels and collecting our heaps of trash mail you have of ours? And that then resulted on the 5 of us, him and his girlfriend and my family, going to the museum tomorrow morning to catch up. That is taking action, okay? Now, when I'm talking to Dan, and I know Dan drinks, but he won't be drinking when he's with me because I don't go to those situations and he knows what I do for a living. What I mean by that is Dan probably is not going to have 6 to 10 pints with me. He's probably going to have 1 or 2, right? And when me and Dan talk, I know that I can get into a deep, meaningful, funny, humorous conversation with that guy. If I can do that with Dan, why am I going to fucking waste my time having a surface level conversation with John? Because I always used to have surface level conversations with John, and John's my mate and I love him and he's always been there. Bullshit. You need to start being a little bit selfish here in the world if you want to be someone who doesn't drink alcohol and have a great life. You've got to start spending less time with people who do not provide you with any value and find people who do. You do not drink alcohol. That is not going to help you out. Because imagine if I was an absolute pisshead now, the likelihood of me connecting with Daniel is going to be a lot more remote. Because I know when I've had a drink, I'm a prick. But I know when I haven't had a drink, I'm a less of a prick. So Daniel is more likely to like me, okay? Self-awareness, radical open-mindedness, radical honesty. These things lead to you being someone who doesn't drink alcohol, okay? Please, 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 do not think you're boring, okay? Everybody else is. Thank you for listening.